This country is completely falling apart, ladies and gentlemen. We have a social justice warrior, feminist prime minister who managed to somehow infiltrate our political system and rise all the way to the top. This is the guy who changed the lyrics in Canada's national anthem to "in all of us" command instead of "in all our sons" command to be more inclusive. This is the guy who changed 50% of his cabinet to being women because it's the current year. And this is the guy who wants you to refer to mankind as people-kind to be more inclusive. So obviously, his ideologies are going to trickle on down throughout society, and we are now starting to see that in a major way. You may recall a couple weeks ago I put out this video, "Court rules father cannot refer to 14-year-old daughter as a girl, and he must comply with transition." So we're literally to the point where they're policing our language, to the point where a father can't even refer to his own daughter as a girl and must comply with the transition, meaning doctors are going to be injecting her with testosterone boosters, and this father cannot do anything to stop it. The state is going to say, no, we're going to allow this to happen. We're going to make that decision for you. Well, just when you thought that couldn't get any worse, now they're taking it a step further, and if you do misgender someone, you can now be fined with a very hefty fine. This just out, Vancouver activist Morgane Oger wins landmark transgender rights decision. A Vancouver Human Rights Tribunal has ruled there's no room for public debate about whether transgender people are who they say they are. So there's absolutely no room for debate here, ladies and gentlemen, about whether or not this guy right here is a woman, which is what he claims to be. The 104-page ruling, which goes into detail about the types of discrimination trans people face, is a win for trans rights in BC and across the country, said Susanna Alvedo-Quayle, Oger's lawyer. This decision is really a landmark decision in establishing the scope of protections under the Human Rights Code for transgender people, she said. In defense of the flyers, Whatcott had argued that he was contributing to important public debate about the morality of being transgender. The judgment rejects this argument, Quayle explained. It is no longer a legitimate subject of public debate whether or not it's okay to be transgender or whether transgender people are real. So there it is, folks. It is no longer up for debate whatsoever. If you want to counter this man's claims that he is in fact a woman, you can now be fined with a hefty fine. And, what was it that Bill was saying on these flyers? Well, I actually interviewed him about all of this when it first came out last year. This video, Christian charged with hate crime plus $104 million suit via the LGBTQ community. And in this interview, he explains what his intentions were and the fact that he was displaying a lot of facts, namely about sexually transmitted diseases amongst trans people, statistics on suicide rates in post-operations, depression rates, and things of this nature. Simply stating some facts, and the court ruled that this was, in fact, hateful. Court orders Christian to pay $55,000 to trans politician for calling him a biological male. A BC Human Rights Tribunal has ruled that a Christian activist discriminated against a man who claims to be a female by distributing flyers that referred to the man who's running for political office at the time as a biological male. I can't believe it's controversial in this day and age to say such a thing. The court ruled for transgender activist Morgane Oger, born Ronan Oger, and against Christian activist Bill Whatcott by declaring it's discriminatory not to accept transgender people as the gender that they claim to be. In a 104-page ruling released Wednesday, the tribunal further declared there's no room for any public debate in the matter. That's just it. We're down to that. There's no room for any more public debate. The tribunal also ordered Whatcott to pay Oger $35,000 in compensation for injury to his dignity, feelings, and self-respect. I mean, literally, they have feelings here. You can't hurt someone's feelings anymore in this social justice warrior Justin Trudeau government, you can be fined $35,000 for hurting someone's feelings, in fact, and an additional $20,000 to Oger for Whatcott's alleged improper conduct during and before the hearings, it reported. And what was his appropriate conduct? Well, he kept referring to him as a man, using pronouns like he, because that's what he is. Goes on to say here, Oger, who is vice president of the BC NDP, launched a discrimination complaint against Whatcott after the Christian activist distributed flyers in Vancouver, False Creek riding, in 2017 when Oger was running as an MLA for the BC NDP. Whatcott's flyer asserted Oger is a biological male who has renamed himself Morgane Oger after he embraced a transvestite lifestyle. And here's the flyer in question, okay? Here's the whole thing in full. I'll include a link in the description so you can read it for yourself. But I'll read to you a little bit from the flyer, which I think is drumming up a lot of the controversy. It's probably a lot to do with this paragraph here. Ronan Oger, pictured left, is a biological male who has renamed himself Morgane Oger after he embraced a transvestite lifestyle. Ronan is running for the NDP in Vancouver False Creek riding, and BC's media and the NDP are promoting a false narrative that Ronan is a woman born in a male body. Walt Heyer, pictured on the right, lived as a transvestite for 8 years. He cut off his penis and he injected himself with female hormones in an effort to delude himself and everyone around him into thinking that he was a female. Walt repented of his sin. He reclaimed his God-given male identity and is now living as a born-again Christian, helping others to avoid the mistake he made of embracing the transgender propaganda and trying to live a lie that he was a different gender from the one God made him. So this is what it boils down to, folks. It's his Christian take on it. It's his Christian views about the morality issue of this, that the BC courts have a problem with, and that Justin Trudeau has a problem with. And really, it's really doing a disservice to the trans community and to this man right here. Because I don't think Bill is doing this out of hate. I think he's doing it out of love. In fact, I think it's a disservice to the trans community to pander to someone like this's delusions. You know, if you have a mentally ill person, and let's not forget that that's what we're dealing with here. Let's say you have someone like with schizophrenia, for example, severe case of schizophrenia, and they are severely deluded into a false reality, and they're playing out this narrative. And if this person's friends and family contributed to that and allowed that person to continue to believe the delusion, well, things could get really ugly, and it's a disservice to the mentally ill person to pander to the delusion. So it's not about being mean here. It's simply about stating facts and remaining truthful, because guess what, guys? The truth matters. The truth is important. If you want my take on this, I laid it out in this video here. These 10 things I hold to be true. Allow me to explain. And the number one statement I make in this video, 10 statements of facts I hold to be true, is that a biological man cannot become a woman, and a biological woman cannot become a man. And I go on to explain my views on that in depth. So if you want a more in-depth analysis about my views on what it is to be transgender, please check out my video, These 10 Things I Hold to Be True. I'll include a link in the description below. But I wanted to bring this one to your attention today, folks, because this is setting a precedent. This is moving into dangerous territory. It was already dangerous enough that they were policing our language, but now they're starting to lay down the fines. It's actually starting to happen. This man right here is going to have to pay $55,000 to this man right here because he called him a man when this guy wants to be referred to a woman. I can't believe it's controversial to say this in this day and age, but here we are, folks. So I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this one. I'm just speaking the truth. So please click the thumbs up button. Help me with the algorithms because YouTube is trying to bury this type of information from being seen. So if you appreciate this video and you like the information I'm bringing today, please click the thumbs up button and share this video. And stay tuned, guys. We're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.